Hello, my crafty people, and welcome back to Unicorn Dust Designs. Today, we are going to be diving into some extremely high-end Christmas home decor. Most of it is going to be using our IOD products, DIY paints as well. But if you don't have those things, that is okay too. Hang around, see how we do these techniques because they can definitely be done with many other items. I flipped these a long time ago. You could see they've been, there was jute cord around them. They've been in my home decor for a while. I got these books either at Dollar Tree or a thrift store, not sure. What I'm going to do, this one book was super slick, and I did not want to take the chances of the paint flaking off or like scratching off. So I decided to coat it with my Salvation solution. Now, Salvation solution is a wood blocker, but you can also use it as a primer as well. So that's what I'm doing right here. I want to make sure that my paint has something to grab a hold to. So I'm going to set that aside and let that dry. I'm going to take out all of my IOD trimming molds, and I'm going to get the spines of the books and then put them on the molds just to ensure the fit before I go for it. I'm going to take that cornstarch and I am going to put it on my mold so that our clay releases easier. I use DOS air clay. This is in my Amazon store link, and I'm going to push that into my mold and then push it out and up. I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down here, okay? I am going to do this 3 times, and I'm going to release it. You just bend that mold back. Look at how beautiful. And these IOD molds are made to make your life easy. Do you see how it's missing a piece right there? And no fear, y'all. What I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere my mold first with some Titebond Quick and Thick. This is a great way to attach any of your molds. It is my go-to now. And then I'm going to get my mold and I'm going to flip it back over onto the spine of my book, making sure my placement is where it needs to be. I'm going to cut off just that little bit that's sticking off the book. Then I'm going to grab my molds again, and I'm just putting that clay right at the tip, the only part that we need. And then I'm going to set it in there. You see how it just fits? It's made to fit, and all of them are made to connect. That's what I love about these molds. So I'm going to let that set up, and then I just wanted to show you a second one that I do. So I just cut off the end of this one and then add it to the top right there. So that worked out perfectly as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue everything together. Sorry, you guys, it is summer break and my kids are home. All 3 of the books are drying. I'm going to take this frame that I had made with some resin. This is when I thought I was going to do like 20 magnets, and I did 3 and I was done. And I am going to take Fancy Farm Girl. Christmas in July, I'm definitely playing around with the greens because DIY paints have quite a few greens in the collection. So I'm just seeing what kind of green I love and I'm going to use when we really go hard into Christmas decor. But the Fancy Farm Girl is a great choice for a Christmas green. After we're done with that, we're going to get our books, and I like to paint just a little bit of the inside cover and then the back of the book. And I do this because, you know, if you stand a book up, you see that little bit of the front and the back of the book. So I am going to make sure that I cover all of that up, and I'll do the same thing on every book. I'm using Fancy Farm Girl Marquee, and I'm also going to use Sandy Blonde for this book trio. Now I'm taking a chippy brush, and I'm doing the chippy brush because it has those bristles that could get into all of the details. And I'm going to do that on the spines of the books, and then I'm going to go in with my synthetic folk art paintbrush. I just get these at Walmart, and I'm going to do the fronts and the back of the book as well. Now you don't have to do the back or the top of every book, because when you think about it, the middle, you're not going to see it. So you just want to paint really the parts that are showing. And then I quickly wanted to show you the red. The Salvation solution worked great. The paint was clinging to this book and I didn't have any issues. Now we're going to put the book back together. So I like to glue the front and the back page to the hardback. That way you don't see that ugly mess that I made on the inside. I'm going to put the glue on the top of the red book and set our sandy blonde one right up top, and then I just make sure everything is stacked nice and evenly. I will repeat the process of gluing the pages, and then I will stack the top book, which is our fancy farm girl. You're gonna let this set up. This glue is absolutely amazing, you guys. It holds up, let me tell you. So now I'm going to, you guys, this is when I thought I used aviary and then realized I used fancy farm girl, but don't worry, this clay-based paint is so pigmented that all I had to do was another coat and it covered it up. I couldn't stand the brush strokes. I just did like strokes of paint for the first layer. I couldn't do it, so I ended up going back in and stippling. Now I'm going to attach the frame, again, using Quick and Thick. I'm going to line that up. Look at how gorgeous. I am going to take an image that I got from graphicsfairy.com, which I guess I will show in a minute. I am clearing the entire book with Big Top, and we are going to do the front, the back, the sides. I'm even going to do the entire frame, and I chose to use Big Top because one, I wanted to wipe back my wax a little easier, and then two, I just wanted to make it more durable, so I chose the harder finish instead of clearing it with wax. Now I'm going to take my image that I got from graphicsfairy.com. I saw this vintage Christmas cat and I knew right away it had to be on this book. So I scaled it down in my silhouette program. You do not need a silhouette to use the program. And then, sorry about my big forehead. And then I'm going to use some liquid patina. And I just put a coat on the bottom and then a coat on top. I used just a little bit of that liquid patina. A little bit goes a long way. I smooth that down, and then I'm going to dip my brush back in and do a coat on top of the entire image to ensure that I've sealed everything in there. And all I did was print this on tissue paper, you guys. That's all it is. Now that that is dry, I am taking our DIY dark wax with a chippy brush and I am pushing that wax into all of the beautiful details. You guys, the spines of these books are absolutely gorgeous. Like, I want to do this to everything. You guys, if you're new to my channel, I love books. So, this is Gorga. So I put it on. Then I'm going to take a microfiber cloth because I want to take more of that wax off and just leave it. You see how it just goes right into the beautiful details and makes it pop? Yes, ma'am. Okay, now we are going to go to the frame and I am going to push that wax into that frame because it has so many tiny details, and then I'm going to buff that dark wax around the frame of the book. I'm going to wipe the frame off with the microfiber cloth, but once I get to the actual top of the book, I end up grabbing a paper towel and buffing it out because I wanted to leave a lot of that dark wax on there. The microfiber cloth was taking off too much of it. So once I am finished with that, you guys, it just wouldn't be one of my videos if I did not add gold wax to something. So I chose to only do it on the frame so that it really pops. I did not do it on the spines of the books. But you guys, this book stack, I hope it was worth the long tutorial because this is one of my favorites. It probably will be my favorite for any of my Christmas DIYs this year. And that cat photo from Graphics Fairy, oh my gosh. And look at the detail. Yep, let's have a moment of silence. It's gorgeous. All right, here is a look at the final product. The Fancy Farm Girl, I have to say, the Fancy Farm Girl Sandy Blonde and Marquee are gorgeous. If you are not a fan of like the bright red and white and green, this color combo is gonna be your jam. That Sandy Blonde, at first I thought I was gonna use faded burlap, but I'm so glad I didn't because that color combo looks gorgeous together. Definitely a more vintage, sultry look, and I Love it. Comment down below with a book stack if you enjoyed this one as well. We're going to start out with this silver tray that I got at Salvation Army, and I'm going to give it a good coat of this matte clear by Rust-Oleum. I feel like when you have a slick surface like this, it just helps having something for the paint to attach to. Sorry about my awesome filming while doing over here. My Salvation Army has an entire section full of just all this silver stuff, and they're usually a tan tag, so when that goes 50% off, I usually get like the most like ornate things I could find. So now that it's nice and matte, I am going to grab White Swan by DIY Paint, and I am going to use a synthetic brush for this. And the reason I'm gonna do that versus using like a chippy brush like I usually do is because I want to I don't want the paint brush strokes, and this is going to give me a little bit smoother of a finish on this. All of my DIY paints, you guys know the drill, will be down in the description box. I get them from upcycledbybrie.com. And after I'm done with this, I'm not going to paint the back because we are going to distress this down. You're going to see the silver peeking through, so I didn't feel a need to paint the back. I'm going to do 2 coats of this. I'm going to completely let it dry. Then I am going to grab my polyacrylic, or sorry, I'm going to sand it first. I'm taking just a rough sanding sponge from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just de-stress it down so that you can see some of that silver and some of that detail. Look at how pretty that is. I'm gonna go all excuse me, you guys. I'm gonna go all around the edges, and then I tried to get inside to hit some of those little humps you see on there. I tried my best, but it didn't come out as distressed as I would have liked it. So now that that's done, I clean it off. I'm going to take my water-based polyacrylic. You want to make sure you're using water-based so it doesn't yellow your paint. And then I go and use a chip brush anyways. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm going to be using an Iron Orchid Designs transfer. On their transfer sheet, they say to clear your piece first. Now, I know that you don't have to clear it, but I rather be safe than sorry. So I'm going to take my transfers, and I already knew when I saw this transfer book that this transfer had to go on this silver tray. Now I get my transfers, all my IOD stuff from Bonda at thepaintedheirloom.com. I always leave her link down in the description box. And if you're a new customer, then use unicorn10 for a discount. So I am cutting this down. I couldn't fit the last part on, but I'll save that, and you never know, I could use it later. Now, learn from me, you guys. I think because I had put the clear on and I literally just dried it with my heat gun and then went straight for the transfer, it started bringing up my paint. So I would say let your clear coat cure for a little bit and then go in with your transfer. So you can see I am just using one of my vinyl spatula, I don't know what these are called, things. You could also, they come with like a little plastic thing to rub them down. I always prefer lifting my transfer up as I am pulling back on it. I feel like it helps release the transfer a little more. Now, I know not everybody is going to be able to go afford to get this. You could always just take the bones of this and you can use, decoupage. You can print on your printer and do the Mod Podge hack of transferring your image. So just use the bones of this. If IOD is something that's not in your budget right now, that's totally fine. I'm here to inspire and give you guys ideas, and then you can go and make them your own. So now that I am done and this has completely released, I'm going to take a piece of that carrier paper and I am going to burnish this on. So what I'm doing right here is I'm just kind of pressing that in to my paint. I'm making sure it's all down and it's not going to pill up or go anywhere. And then I clear it with some matte, and you guys, look at how gorgeous. Seriously, when I saw this in the release, I thought of this silver tray right away, and it looks gorgeous on here. It is so fitting. Let me know if you think this was a good image for this tray. We're taking this Dollar Tree hanger from our summer collection thing, and I'm going to take the hanger off. This hanger was like the perfect color. Now this paper sucked. So once I peeled it off, like the first layer, there was all this white paper. What you're going to do is you're going to take a warm rag, set it on top of that for like 20 minutes. Then you're going to take either the towel, or I found using a sponge with like the rough back and going in circular motions completely took the paper off. This is what it looked like after it dried overnight. Now I'm going to take my crackle medium. This is Folk Art Crackle, and it's specifically for chalk paint. Take my chip brush, and I'm going to do even coats, trying not to make several passes over the coat. That didn't make sense. You want to just use one brush stroke. Okay, you don't want to overlap over and over because that'll ruin that crackle effect. Now I'm going to take my plaster by Waverly, and you can see how I'm just taking that brush and going across, well, except for here, I got chunks in there. I'm going across my piece. I'm not going over the same stroke over and over again. And I love this crackle medium, you guys. You see it working right away. I know there's Elmer's glue. I know there's tons of other options. This is just what I enjoy using. So now I'm taking those IOD stamps again, and I am going to be pressing them out. Now, when you, or if you get these stamps or have them, then you know they only come with one set. So what I like to do is place them out first, and then you have to go back in. So you could see I'm setting my A and my S again. I know they're going to fit there because I already did my placement beforehand to make sure they fit. And then I'll put that ink on there and then press them once again. And look at how crisp that is. And just so you can see what I'm talking about, for those of you who haven't seen me use these stamps, I am going to take all of them out that I need. So this is going to say Santa's Magic Key, and I'm going to place them on my piece first. Now you can see I placed the hook back on there so I know where I can put these letters. Then I take my, this is actually a cutting mat. I'm going to take my ink, pat it, and then we will put that on. Now I am taking, I got this huge set of keys. It's from Amazon because when I first started my wood sign business, I made a bunch of these Santa's Magic Key signs. So that's in my Amazon store if you guys want these keys. And then I'm just going to tie some ribbon to it. And you guys, I thought this Santa's Magic Key was nice for those that maybe don't, like a grandma or an aunt or something that doesn't really have kids living in the house, so they don't want that kitty looking Christmas stuff, but they still want to bring like the magic to the home for their, you know, for their grandbabies or their nieces or their nephew, or even if you're a mom or dad or whatever and you don't like the kitty-ish stuff. This is a great way of still bringing that magic of Christmas into your home, but making it look a little bit more mature. This one's a wood round. I wasn't filming when I painted it, but y'all know how to paint a wood round. I'm using my sponge roller. I did the front and the sides. For some reason, I didn't paint the back. You guys know I always paint the back, but I didn't, but that's okay. Now I'm taking my transfers from IOD. This is huge. This is an 18-inch round, y'all, and you can see how well this wreath fits on here. It's stunning. So I am just trying to find the placement. These meet up so well. There's no hard work in this. We're going to take them off of their carrier sheet after I'm done finding the placement. And like I said, they have a little bit of tack to them. So once you peel them from the carrier sheet, you just kind of smooth it down and it'll attach. And then you get your scraper tool and you'll start scraping those out. And as I'm doing mine, I like to scrape Is scrape the right word? I don't know. And I like to lift as I go, because that way I know if something isn't attached to my wood, that I could just put that carrier sheet back down and rub a little harder, and then it'll transfer on to my piece. I also want to note that I did not put any clear coat on this like I've done before. And I actually think that the transfers do better without the clear coat down. But that is just my opinion. You do you. All right, now moving on. You can see these match up so beautifully. I mean, these sisters, they have thought of everything. They are so talented. You guys, you need to go check out the website and see everything. It's gorgeous. Then taking this beautiful cardinal, I'm going to apply that right there. And then this is where I'm like, okay, it needs something in the middle. But I didn't want to go like crazy big with text because I wanted the focus to be the cardinal. So I decided to take this Merry Christmas. It is from last year's transfer book. But then I was like, oh, is this too small? Does it look like an afterthought? I put a couple like other pieces by it just to make it look a little bit more like full, I guess you can say. But let me know what you think. I just didn't want to overcrowd it, but then I kind of think maybe it looks like an afterthought. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Then I'm taking my Spar urethane water base. I'm going to give it 2 coats on the front and the back. I decided to use Spar urethane because I'm like, I don't know if somebody that buys this is going to want to use it on the front door or if it'll be inside. So better safe than sorry. I use Spar urethane. So this one will be available on my website, and I promise you guys the shipping costs have nothing to do with me. I make no profit off of it. That is what UPS is charging us. Okay. All right. And this is how, and I'm sorry, I also didn't film it, but I applied D hooks to the back just like I do with all my other wood rounds so that you can hang it on a door, a wall, whatever you would like. And I think this turned out beautiful. I only did 1 coat of that white chalk paint because I still wanted to see the wood grain. There are spots where like a little, like right there under the Christmas wood showing through. So you guys, I wanted to take a moment and let you guys know that I do have a website, unicorndustdesigns.com, and I've actually started selling a lot of the products that I used in these old videos now. So I just wanted to let you guys know that I do sell the DIY paint products, IOD, Roy-cycled, and then a lot of the things that I am using as far as molds go, those are retired. So they retire every Christmas season. So I have started selling the resin castings of them. So definitely head to my website if there's something you totally want to make and you want to get your hands on those. And then I also do sell thrifted items as well as gift cards. Tell your children it's okay. And then I also offer a business coaching class as well. So that link will be down in the description box for y'all. Let's get back into the DIY. Right into this. We're going to take some IOD molds. Some of these are from last year and then some are from this year. I'm using my cornstarch to put inside my mold so that my clay does not stick and easily comes out. I've done several videos using these. I will attach some of them in the description box because I'm not going to go too into detail on this. So after that, I'm going to grab my paper clay. And I want to tell you guys, I've tried the air dry clay from IOD, and now I've tried this one, which is a paper clay. And after opening this paper clay and storing it, I will say that it stores a lot better than the air dry clay. Like this stuff feels just like the first time that I opened the bag versus my air dry clay, which I have tried several different things to keep it like nice and like moldable. And it always gets super stiff and I have to wet it and rework it. This stuff, completely different. However, I will say the paper clay is very like sticky. You can see it sticking all over my hands. So wanted to put that out there if you were thinking about trying, different options. They both have their pros and cons. I will also say that the paper clay is a little flexible after it dries, which is a bonus. So now that, I'm like, am I making more? Yeah, I'm rolling more here, okay? I didn't know what I was going to use. I have been inspired by I think it's called Provincial Farmhouse. I'll link her YouTube down below. She does a lot of layering with her molds, and I thought to myself, like, man, I haven't been doing enough with these. Like, so many possibilities. So that's why I made like quite a few. Right now, I'm taking them out of the silicone mold while they are still wet and flexible. You can see how easy these are coming out. They are absolutely beautiful. This is last year's mold. You could possibly still find it on Etsy or by going to IOD and finding a retailer near you. All right, so you can see right here, I'm using fencing that I had left over from making pumpkins, and I am trying my hand at layering the molds. And I'm just going to use the Tite Bond wood glue. I will say that I wish I would have used my Star Bond, because when this dried overnight, the molds kind of lifted off the wood. But I don't also know, that could have been just the paper clay and the way it dries when it's wet. So if you guys know, please let me know down in comments. I am trying all of this out. Like, I'm new to molds and everything, so I'm learning every single time that I do this. So I am happy to learn from you guys. So you can see I just kind of layered them on top of each other. Then I'm going to add this Christmas tree. I totally thought I was taking this somewhere completely different. And then once I started painting and waxing it, I ended up leaving it. And you guys will see. Sorry, you guys will see. Okay, for the second piece of fence, I am going to take all these 3 different Christmas tree sizes, and I wanted it to look like the Christmas trees were getting further away in the background. So that was like my thought process behind. No, get off the couch, off the couch, off the couch. Oh, you guys, this is life. I'm sorry, I'm not starting over. And then I'm going to add a couple sizes of snowflakes here. Now, the fun part, bringing this to life. I am taking just White by Waverly, and I am using a chip brush. I love using a chip brush when I use molds, because the bristles on these brushes just get in all of those nooks and crannies and details on these pieces. So I'm going to do the front, and then I make sure to get the sides. I'm also going to paint the one on the left white as well. What we're going to do different with them is use different color waxes. I just wanted to see the different looks that we would get using these. So for this one, I am first coating both of them with clear wax by DIY. This is going to help the colored wax be a little bit more movable, and you'll see what I'm talking about next. So I'm going to take the dark wax that we all have come to love from DIY, and I'm going to brush a healthy amount on that. You want to get more on your molds than you do the flat surface. And then I am going to take a paper towel, and I'm going to start wiping that excess off. So this is where that clear wax comes in handy. It's allowing me to move this dark wax and wipe the excess off. And you can see how the dark wax sits in all of those beautiful details. Well, for me, that wasn't enough. So I went in with more dark wax, like up under the tree branches, and then I wiped it away again. And look at how beautiful this is. Oh my word. Now with this one, we are using a gray wax. My girl sent this to me from Canada, so I don't know where you can find it. I will try and remember to leave the name of it if you do live in Canada. So I am brushing this one on, and then again, we are going to use the paper towel, wipe that excess off. Now I'm going to take these little baby eye hooks. The wood was soft enough just to push these on in. I string some twine through them, and that is it for these. These are absolutely gorgeous. The details in them, the texture from the wood is gorgeous. There's just like a story to them. I don't know. They look beautiful, whimsical, vintage. These will probably be on my website for purchase. I haven't decided if I could let go of them or not. And all right, are you guys ready for this one? So this is also inspired by Connie. And you guys, I painted this whole piece of wood elephant gray and then was like, you wanted that red. So I'm going back over with crimson red, the front, the back, the sides, all of that jazz. Now, here is what she does. This whole baking soda and paint, that's not new to you guys. Get it, got it. But I'm going to pour a bunch in here. I want this to be thick. And what Connie does, she not only does this with the baking soda and paint, but she does it, you know, the chunky stuff that forms in the lid of your paints. She, like I said, does not waste anything. And she uses it for this same thing. So I'm taking this stencil brush from Dollar Tree. And I am pouncing that onto my corners. And then I'm thinning it out as I come up the edges. What I do next is I'm going to get my heat gun, and with the heat gun, I'm going to, I'll eventually get there, you guys. Okay, maybe not till later. Let's see. No, right here. Now, as it's drying, you know, it's getting a little bit more tacky. So I keep stippling over that baking soda mixture because it creates even more texture on there. I was then thinking, you know what, let's frame this out. Let's put it around the entire thing. So again, I grab a good amount of that baking soda mixture, and you can see I'm just stippling this on, heavy around the corners, and then I start thinning out as we work our way inside the frame. Then I get my heat gun and do the same thing. Once this completely dries, I'm going to take another one of my transfers. I've been dying to use this bear transfer. Y'all, I'm saying it a lot in this video, but the details, like this bear's eyes look like it's looking into your soul and saying like, take me home and let's cuddle together in front of the fireplace. They're just so beautiful and intricate. They're beautiful. Okay, and then I burnish it. And that's just rubbing the image so that I make sure that it's stuck to that wood. Now this is where the magic is going to happen. I take my white wax with a chip brush, and as I go around that textured baking soda, do you see how this is just coming to life? It is like you're looking through a frosted glass window. I am stoked about this, and this is something that I will definitely, this technique, use in the future. I think it's a great way to add texture to a piece, frame out a piece, and you could use, you know, the dark wax, white wax, gray wax. It does not matter. You could dry brush on top of this. It is stunning, and I can't wait to try her trick with the, you know, the crusty paint in the lid. But look at how cute. My camera makes it look a lot brighter, but this is probably one of my favorite pieces. And do you see all of that? See that texture? And then that bear. Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Let me know which one you are going to try first. Piece of wood, again, don't know the measurements. Somebody suggested I keep a tape measure by my craft table, and I do. I guess I am trying to do my DIYs while the baby's sleeping, and sometimes I just don't think of it, so I apologize. Now I'm taking one of these stamps. This is also IOD. I haven't used this one actually at all this season. I think I'll be using it a lot more in the winter. And just to show you, the IOD stamps come completely empty, and then you get the bottle of the ink and you fill your own pads. And it's nice because there is still a ton left in the bottle after you fill your initial pad. This is tomato once again. So after I painted that scrap piece of wood with Cashew by Waverly, I'm taking this beautiful stamp with tomato, and I'm going to stamp that right onto my piece of wood. And oh my gosh, the details in these stamps always blow my mind. I will probably always say that and repeat myself, but like I'm always blown away when I use one for the first time and just see the details in here. So I'm lining that up the best that I can, pressing that down with my finger while I'm holding it with the other hand. And oh, is that not beautiful? And you can use this stuff on clothes, glass, everything. I really wanted to use the bear, but then I was like, he's going to cover up the whole stamp. So we go with what Connie used. And this again is a IOD transfer. I know Vonda is sold out of this one, so if y'all know any other stockists that happen to have this on hand right now, please feel free to comment them down in the description box, in the comments, so other people could potentially find these as well. Now, after I put that little guy on there, isn't he cute? I'm gonna grab another stamp, and it says, I think, cozy something, stay cozy. And I put some green ink, also from IOD, on there. And you guys, look at how stinking cute this dang thing turned out. And I just wipe my stamps off with a baby wipe if I'm using actual ink. And this is how it turned out. I love the way the layering worked together on this. Again, Connie is fabulous at using IOD, painting, the layering of products. I love how this turned out. I'm definitely keeping it for myself. And now I found these beauties, 4 of them for $5.99 at Savers. 2 of them I'm going to sand, 2 of them I'm going to leave as is. You guys, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. So trying amazing resin out for the first time. It cures within 10 minutes. It has 2 parts and it's so easy. It's just equal parts bottle A to B. You mix it for about 40 seconds. You'll feel that it kind of gets like, you could feel the warmth of it in the cup. I do recommend getting paper cups though versus this. This is a laundry detergent cup. And after you mix it, you pour it in your mold. And you guys, I wanted to literally pour every single mold I've ever gotten from IOD because this was so easy. Like I said though, I am going to get paper cups just because it's going to be easier to kind of like bend them and get them in the little details. And another thing is, go with a little less as you start coming to the tops of the mold, because as it firms up, look at this, already turning white. Of course, this is sped up, but like when they said 10 minutes on the box, it literally only took 10 minutes. But like I was saying, once they start firming up, they kind of create a little like roundness or something to the back of it that puffs up. So to keep it flat, don't go too far up as you're pouring those molds. But this is amazing. And then as I pop them out, I am ecstatic. This was so satisfying. The details, I mean, you see the details with the clay, but the details with this was just out of the world. The only negative is you can only use these on things that you're going to be doing with a flat surface. So you obviously can't put this like on a bowl or a can or anything like that that has a curved surface. So only flat. So after that, we are going to grab these, I guess they would just be wall decor maybe. And I am getting some of this vintage scrapbook paper. This is just a Christmas packet from Hobby Lobby. I am pressing down around the circle, and then I'm going to cut that scrapbook paper out. I will apply Mod Podge directly to my piece, and then I will apply it to the top of the scrapbook paper as well, and then I will hit it with my heat gun to hurry up that drying process. Now I'm going to take my molds. I'm using vintage green for my bow. I do 2 layers, and then I am going to put hazelnut on the bell. I thought it was a nice way of getting like a gold look without going metallic. Now, of course, I take my gold wax, and you guys, you would never know that this bell had so much detail until you put wax over it, because the top of this has, look at that. You would have never known that it had those beautiful details up there. So I put the gold wax on the bell, and then I put it on the bow as well. Why not? It's Christmas. Let's make everything shiny. And now I'm going to use my Star Bond glue and attach that. I will say, I hope that this holds up, because the bow really only had that little top notch of the bell to hold on to. This layering would have probably done better wet, but we'll see how it goes. I'm going to do the same thing with the paper for this next one, except I used a craft knife and it was way easier to do it that way. Mod Podge, and for this one, we are going to use this beautiful Snowflake. This is out of their new mold. I'm going to use Cashew by Waverly, and then we are going to go back in with that dark wax. Y'all, this looks so vintage after I'm done. I love it. So I put a heavy amount. I am making sure I get into all the details. Then I'm going to take my paper towel. And you know what? This time I didn't use the clear wax and it still moved around pretty well. But you could see the right side I wiped versus the left side with the dark wax. So you can see like that difference of wiping it down. Now I'm going to take my accelerator and spray it on. This just helps that Star Bond to like automatically adhere and not move around. Okay, these you guys ended up being my absolute favorite. This color, everything is my vibe right now. And if my kids were older and out of the house, I'd be basing all of my Christmas decor off of this. So the two that I sanded down in the middle, I am going to paint with ink by Waverly. I only have to do one coat and then I'm gonna let that dry. Now I'm gonna take my bird molds and I am also going to paint those black. I'm gonna paint both of them black, again, just one coat. Now I'm gonna take the brush with the gold wax and I'm gonna brush these on. Now you guys have seen me use my finger every time I've used these, but I didn't wanna just get the top of the mold. I wanted to get in all of the details. This looks blurry, I'm sorry, of the birds. So that's why I chose to use this stencil brush so that I could get it everywhere. And then again, using that Star Bond glue, after like 5 minutes of trying to find where I wanted to place these, I stick those. Oh my gosh, you guys, are these not so gorgeous? Oh, I want to do like a whole mirror in these. I don't know. And then I brush the excess just so you get a little shimmer on that black paint. And then for our watch, of course, I had to do the same thing. I painted it black. I put the gold wax on top of it, glued it, and this actually matched like the top of this wood piece. And then I dusted some of the gold on there, and this is how they turned out. These are so stunning, and look at what a great way of taking something at the thrift store that was so outdated and giving it new life. I am absolutely obsessed with them. I might put these on my website. The Bell one, I just don't know if it would make it through shipping. And then these two I might keep for myself. I need to stop keeping things for myself, but look at how gorgeous and detailed those are. Whew. Oh boy. Okay. We are going to be starting this road trip off super easy. I am taking this picture that I got from Savers for $4.99. Not sure why I spent that much. Maybe because of the detail. But I'm going to take Marquee by DIY Paints and we are going to coat the entire piece. Now, I did shellac this prior to painting just to ensure I did not have any bleed throughs of any sort. On today's video, you can find all my paint products on unicorndustdesigns.com. Can you tell my children are home? And then after I am done with the first coat, I'm going to go back in with a second coat and do a stippling effect because I do not like my brush strokes. And then we are going to come in with a baby wipe and do some wet distressing. I wanted to bring that black back out of the details, and you could go as heavy or light as you want with this. That's what I like about wet distressing. You have a lot of control over the piece. So after I'm done with that, we are going to put a transfer on. And right when I put the transfer on, you guys, I already know what's going to happen. And like I've said before, it is so hit or miss. A lot of times I could just paint and put a transfer on and I'm good to go. But what I'm learning is if you allow the paint to just properly dry, like give it some dry time, you will not have this issue. This is me painting, applying heat to speed up the drying process, and then trying to put the transfer on right away. Didn't work. So ensure I did not waste any more transfers. I cleared my entire piece with Big Top. I allowed this to dry overnight because like I said, I was not taking any chances. Then I went back the next morning and I started putting my transfers on here, and it worked perfectly. So these are a lot of the scraps from last year's transfers, last year's IOD transfers. Not sure if you could still get these. I'll have to look, but they went on flawlessly. And then there was this bird. You're going to see two birds in this video. And I'm going to stick that, layer it right on top of those branches so it looks like it's sitting up there. And the bird released from the transfer sheet, so easy. I didn't like the holes where like the two branches were meeting, so I put a couple little berry stems on there that have these really beautiful white highlights. Then I burnished my image to ensure that it was adhered to the sign. And now we're going to take our buttery white wax and I'm going to stipple that on. And the reason I stipple the wax on is because I want to push it down into the details. I don't want to just sitting on top of there. I want it pushed down. Then taking my microfiber cloth, I wipe away the excess. Now, when using a microfiber cloth, you're going to pull back more of that wax versus when you're using a paper towel, you're going to leave a lot of that wax on there. After I'm done with that, I just put whatever is remaining on my wax brush, and then I'm going to buff that out so everything is cohesive. And that is it for this beautiful thrift flip. I always, when I go thrifting, if something has detail like this and it's a good price, it is probably going to go home with me because there's so many things that you can do with them. Seriously, distressing them down and adding wax just adds a whole nother level to it. All of these pieces are available on my website for purchase today, and I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Comment down with a bird if you liked amazing resin. You guys, I'm like addicted to this stuff now. I don't know if I'll ever go back to air dried clay. And it is just a 50-50 ratio. You stir it for 40 seconds and then you start pouring it in your molds. This dries within 5 minutes. And I've learned so much from you guys in the comments. So, I mean, if you see something I'm doing and you know that like there's an easier or better way to do it, leave it in the comments because I do read them and I appreciate all of your guys' feedback and constructive criticism. So after this is the box I use. You could get it at Hobby Lobby and then they sell it on Amazon. It's in my link, but it's $4 more. Look at this, you guys. It does turn white, so it does not dry clear, but it dries so fast. And I've learned that from you guys that if you pop them out when they are like almost to the point of like being all the way cured, you can still like bend these and mold them to curved surfaces. So thank you all for that information. So those were just extra ones that I made because I did too much resin. This holly piece is what we are going to use. Oh my gosh, so much detail. And we are going to use this scrap piece of wood. I'm going to apply our holly on with some tight blonde wood glue, and then I'm going to put some hot glue on there so we can get an immediate hold and we can keep working through our project. And oh my gosh, you guys, I think this one's my favorite. Y'all let me know which one you like the most in the comments. So now I'm taking Plaster by Waverly and a brand new chip brush. Please tell me why I did that because all it kept doing was getting bristles everywhere. But we need the chip brush. I like using it for molds because it gets in all of those details. Now here you go. Take a screenshot. Of course, I had already lost my measuring tape and it was the same day, a couple hours. I don't know. Okay, so after this, I'm going to take this family stencil that I cut for my Cricut. I'm using my Oramask A13 stencil vinyl that's in my Amazon store link down in the description box. We are going to line this up. Now, y'all, I tried the Frisco transfer tape that you guys have recommended in the past. I finally bought some and I like it. Will I fully switch from my vinyl use? No way, Jose. Like, no way. This is nice, but it was too sticky for my taste. Now I'm going to take Ink by Waverly and my Dollar Tree stencil brush, and I'm going to go ahead and stipple that on there. I only have to do one coat. We are going to allow that to dry, and then we will take that off, and let me tell you, not one bleed. Bam. All right, so now we're going to take that clear wax by DIY, and I'm going to put that all over the mold and then all over the sign. Some people have asked if you still have to clear the sign with anything afterwards. No, your wax is your sealer. So after I put the clear wax on everything, you guys know I had to do the dark wax on this mold. So taking a stencil brush from Dollar Tree, I am pouncing that in there. I'm getting it in all of those beautiful details as much as I could. And and now I'm going to take it and put it all over the sign. Now remember, I did the clear wax first, so this is going to make it a lot more movable for us. Now look at this. I take that paper towel, start rubbing all that excess off, and look at that mold come to life. Oh my word, it'll never get old, you guys. It will never get old how stunning these are, especially when you're using like different color waxes and then you see all of those beautiful details pop out at you. Can't get enough of it, and I can't get enough of this gold wax. What would this have been without this gold wax? So I start rubbing it on top of this holly, and oh my gosh, it is just so beautiful. I cannot wait to put this up in the living room this season. And then I go ahead and I just take it, I put it around, and then I just put the lightest coat all over the sign to bring all of the shimmer together. And look at how gorgeous this is. And it goes with all of the decor that like I've made in the past with like the prairie gray, the dark green, the golds. Oh, you are stunning. And you guys know all of my IOD links are down in the description box where I get them. Now on to the duping. We are going to start this video off with these blocks. I actually used the other half during spring. We are going to use the colors Aviary for our Christmas green, Marquee, and Tarnished Pearl. I'm going to apply one color to each block, and you can see that the coverage of these clay-based paints are absolutely amazing. They had red letters on them, and they covered up so well. Except for the Tarnished Pearl, which is expected, it's a white. I do want to note that DIY paints have several white colors. The Tarnished Pearl is going to have a gray undertone. White Swan is going to be your pure white. We also have beadboard that has a blue undertone, and vintage linen, which is my personal favorite. Now we're going to take amazing resin. This is resin that cures within 10 minutes. All you have to do is mix a 50-50 ratio of parts A and B. You're going to mix it for about 40 seconds, and then you're going to start pouring it into your molds and seeing the magic work. Now, I didn't know what I wanted to put on my blocks yet, so I just poured a bunch of different molds, and now I'll just have extra to work on other projects in the future. I'm going to be taking Marquee, and I'm going to be painting my molds with the colors that we did our blocks. So again, Marquee, Aviary, and then the Tarnished Pearl. So this set is getting Marquee. Then I'm going to take the Aviary and paint these Christmas trees and little, I think is that holly? I think so. And then some snowflakes we're going to do with Tarnished Pearl. I'm now going to grab my Titebond. This is, I'll say it's like an all-purpose glue. And we are going to apply that with a paintbrush on the back of these. I'm not going to make you watch me do this to every single mold, but what I'm going to do is I am going to, on the back of this piece that you're looking at, there will be more molds. And on the two sides, we're going to be putting stamps. So it's kind of going to be an alternating thing. So after I apply all of them, we're going to grab some IOD stamps, and I am going to put all different stamps, but I wanted them to kind of coordinate with the molds as well. So we got some text on there. We have some snowflakes. I'm not sure which ones are new, old, or retired. I am so sorry. And then we are going to keep on with that theme. I wanted you to be able to get something with every single view of these blocks. No matter how they were facing, there was something for your eye to look at. So after that, I'm going to take my DIY clear wax. And if you all have not tried these waxes, I am going to tell you right now, it is craft changing. Like your mind will be blown how buttery soft they are and smooth and how easy they are to work with. So clear wax first. Then I'm going to go in with this dark wax and I'm going to make sure that I put majority of it on our molds. I'm going to take a microfiber cloth and I'm going to wipe that back. I will say the microfiber cloth is so much easier than using a paper towel because the paper towel tends to get like stuck on the details sometimes and is a little bit more rough. The microfiber cloth was amazing. I'm going to do this to all the molds and the rest of the block as well so that the look is cohesive with all of that dark wax. After I'm done, you know it would not be a Christmas video from Unicorn Dust Designs if I did not add this gold wax. Pick it up now. All the paint products are available on my website, unicorndustdesigns.com, because if you watched any of last year's videos, I like to put this stuff on everything Christmas related, okay? It's just my jam. So after I do that to all the molds, all the blocks, this is how they turned out. You guys, they're so absolutely beautiful. Look at all of the detail in the stamps, in those molds, how the dark wax has settled into all of those details and really made them pop. And you don't have to use these as a stack. You can take these blocks and put them separately in different spaces, which I think is really cool, and add them kind of as accessories to vignettes. These, among the other DIYs that I did in the last two videos, will be available on the website. I know some of you asked for the previous DIYs and I completely forgot to list them. So make sure you check the website. The link is in the description box for all of today's DIYs and the last two video DIYs. Now we're gonna grab that pillowcase once again, okay? You guys, save everything. You never know when you're gonna use it. I'm gonna grab this. This has been hanging around my basement for a long time. I think it was $4.99 at Savers. Savers is the jam now, you guys. Like compared to Salvation Army and Goodwill, like Savers definitely has the better prices if you have one in your state. So I'm gonna pull this all out. We are not touching that frame. That frame is gorga, okay? Now I'm going to take that glass piece. I like how I used my rotary blade. It was so dull. I was trying to be fancy for you guys. That's what I was trying to do. I was like, look at me. I like have sewing tools. I didn't even know what to call it. Okay, so sorry, you guys. I ended up just using my fabric scissors and cutting it out. You want to make sure that you're using some kind of, you want overlap on this because you can also do this with a picture frame as well if you do not necessarily have one of these. So I'm going to use some tape and tape it down. Then I'm going to grab another transfer. I was on like a black and white kick right here, you guys. But it's definitely my style, this like neutral color background with the black, totally my style. Now I'm just trying to find the position of where it would show in the frame. Now, these transfers have tack on them. So it is sticking to my fabric. Then I use this little plastic thing. It was working, but I switched it up to this metal like spatula. And let me tell you, man, once I switched it to that, this transfer was adhering to the fabric so well. And you guys, you don't need to put anything on the fabric. Like I didn't clear this. There's no paint on it, nothing. This transfer is just going directly on to this fabric, which is amazing. So you can use this on any type, I don't want to say any type of fabric because I don't know that, but a lot of different fabrics. Now, once I got that off, I did burnish it. I don't think I showed that. I did burnish it. Then I'm laying it on top of my glass piece. Now, I didn't get this super straight, but you know, I got it kind of straight. And when you're doing something like this, you want to get that fabric as tight as you can. So I'm starting with the top. I am going over, I'm just using hot glue, and then I'm going to pull that fabric down as hard as I can. and then apply another thing of hot glue, and I'm using my silicone spatula. I have like a 5-pack or something of these in my Amazon store, and I'm pulling that towards the center so that it's nice and tight. I'm going to do the same thing for the other side as well. And then I'm going to pop this back in. I don't know about you guys. You guys might have one of these in your home. My grandma always had one on her dresser with all of her perfumes in it. It's so nostalgic for me. And I'm definitely keeping this because of that. It just brings back memories of my childhood. And so I just put the inserts back in, and then we're done. I did not want to touch the frame at all. I thought it made it look regal. You could see it. It's a little crooked, but it's all right. It's mine. It adds pizzazz to it is what I'm going to say. But I think that it just looks really regal with the deer head and then those colors, and it's that patina on there. Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. All right, now we're going to try beautiful angel was in my booth for 2 years and she would not sell. She does kind of look 90s with like the red color. So let's update her so she fits more people's aesthetic. So we are going to take Salvation Solution, which is a wood stain blocker, and I am going to put that all over her. She has color, she's some kind of wood, and I didn't want to take the chance of tannins poking out through my white. After that, I'm going to take White Swan, which is our pure white, and I'm going to do a messy coat first, and then I'm going to go back in with a second coat, making sure to stipple, just because I don't know why brush strokes bother me. So if you're new to my channel, hi, my name's Sammy. Brush strokes bother me. So I like to stipple on. Now I'm going to take some of these new stamps, and there's like this piece of like filigree, and it looks very like flowy, and it was very minimal. So I'm going to take some gold paint, and then I'm going to pounce that onto my stamp and then apply it to her dress. I'm going to go around her dress, and I'm going to be doing this at different heights all the way around. Her dress just needed like some kind of detail to it. And look at how pretty that looks. Very whimsical. It's not too much. Now I'm going to take, after that paint dries, the DIY clear wax, put that all over her. Then, of course, my gold wax. And I'm going to start putting that on all the details on the base. And then I'm going to hit those very hard lines in her dress to almost create like a shadow effect so you could really see all of the details pop out. And I'm going to do this all over her dress and her hair. I'm leaving her face completely alone. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then I'm also going to hit those wire wings, which are detachable, and I'm going to hit that with some of that gold wax as well. And she turned out stunning. She looks gorgeous in this white and just the little bit of gold. I didn't go too much on like the dress. I just wanted to create kind of some shadowing, and then that little detail in her dress is beautiful. If you love this angel, please comment with the emoji with the little halo on top of its head there. But I like her, and I think she's going to fit with so many people's decor now that she is this color. All right. This one is very easy peasy. I am taking this old bowl, and y'all, I love thrifted things because you can only imagine the story behind them. Like, this bowl was used. The image on it is completely gone. You could see remnants of the gold on it, and it just makes you think like whoever had this must have loved it and used it all the time. Anywho, enough for thrift stories. I am taking Monet's Garden, and Monet's Garden is a gorgeous deep green. I'm going to paint the front, and then or the back, and then I'm going to go inside the bowl, and I am going to do the same thing. I'm using the Little Dipper brush. I should be restocked by next week, you guys. Sorry about that. And then you can see how beautiful it is when Monet's Garden dries down. It's gorgeous either way. After I'm done with this, I'm going to do the back of the bowl with Big Top first. And then after that dries, I'm going to flip our bowl on over. And before I apply the Big Top to it, I'm going to apply our transfer. So this was another transfer from last year. IOD has not come out with anything new yet, so I promise it's not new. And I'm going to lay that down and I'm going to push down and pull up on that transfer sheet, and it released so very easy. Transfers, you guys, definitely are something that make DIYing just easy, and they add such a statement to a piece. After I'm done, I did burnish that down. I'm going to add big top, and then I am going to go in with gold wax. And I chose to do this because the original bowl had that gold finish on it with all of these details, and I just wanted to bring that back to this piece. So I started out with the trim, and then I went in and gave it a very soft coat of the gold to make those details pop again. And at first I wasn't going to do it, but I'm glad I did. So you could see it's just like a soft shimmer of it, and it really allows those details to come back to life, where when it was just the green, you couldn't really see them. So this was a very quick, I think this bowl was $2.99 flip for Christmas. So if you have these old items sitting in your stash, or you go to a thrift store or garage sale next time, pick it up and you can make yourself a beautiful decorative bowl for Christmas or just everyday decor as well. You guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to check the thrift flip road trip. Next one's going to be a little tougher here. I am going to use my IOD molds, and I'm going to use the amazing resin. I did add this to my Amazon store link. I will say that Hobby Lobby has it for $4 cheaper though. Okay, so I'm going to mix my resin equal parts A to B, and then you're going to stir it for 40 seconds, and then you're going to start pouring. I recently did a video and went into more depth, so definitely check that out. I will try to remember to link it in the description box. And then I am going to start pouring my molds. I will say I do read your guys' comments. Thank you so much. A lot of you said that these are still I guess bendable and can go on curved surfaces. You can either microwave them for like 30 seconds to kind of get them flimsy, or you can take them out like right as they're like almost dry and do that. Somebody else has also said after they, you take them out, you can hit them with your heat gun for a little bit to get them soft again, and then apply them to a curved surface. So I can't wait to try that. I always learn something new from you guys, so I appreciate your comments and for teaching me. So right here, you can see we're pouring that in, and then they'll start firming up. It only takes about 10 minutes. You could see it's already turning white for me. These do dry white, so I will say that. Now I'm going to pop them out of their molds, and the craziest thing, you guys, these to the touch are so hot. I didn't realize that the last set I did. I don't know if it's because I like waited longer until they were dry, but yeah, these are really, really hot. So after they were just about dry, I popped some of them out while they were like almost to the point so that I could see if they bend. So this one turned out absolutely amazing. Y'all know iron orchids molds, like they are so detailed and stunning. Look at this. Can you see that? I know it's white. You'll see it later when I put the wax over it. Okay, so look at this one. See, I took it out when it wasn't completely dry and it was bendable. So I'm taking these trays. You guys, tell me what these trays are for. They said made in Japan. I would assume they're kind of some kind of serving tray. Anywho, I am going to repurpose these by, I am using my Star-Bond glue, putting them on my board. I wish I would have made a third one for this green, but it all worked out. I'm using Monet's Garden by DIY Paint. Get that at upcycledbybrie.com. Links in the description box. Once that is dry, can you guys hear the family going crazy? I decided I wanted to see the wood on the side, so that easily sanded off. I cleaned it with a baby wipe, and it was just as good as new. This one is Prairie Gray, I believe, from DIY Paints. Did the same thing. Now I'm taking, if you guys did not know I was going to use the gold wax, then y'all don't know me. If you are new to my channel, hi, my name is Sammy. I'm addicted to this gold wax. You could get it at Upcycle by Brie. So I am taking my finger and I'm rubbing it on those ornaments, and you could just see, if you guys can't tell, I'm smiling right now because these are just so beautiful and they make me so happy. And I just love how the details come alive. I'm also going to run my finger around the outsides of this and then the inner circle. I like doing that because I just feel like it really brings all of the details and the shapes of the piece to life. Like you can see before the green and then adding the gold, just how it outlines this so beautifully. And then I do the same thing. And let me tell you, this prairie gray and the gold together are stunning. I did these on a pair of spindles with Christmas trees. Gorgeous. Look at this one. Do you see that detail? Oh my gosh. You know, it's the little things in life that just make you so happy. And this is one of them. And then I'm going to hit that again all the way around. One thing I did not show, I do clear these with clear wax by DIY. You can also spray these with clear matte by Rust-Oleum as well. Now, you guys, I'm so sorry. This, like, I'm hot gluing the sawtooth hanger on. Don't judge me. I should have done that first so I could have nailed them in properly, but I did not want to damage my ornament pieces by hammering something. So I ended up just gluing the sawtooth hangers on, and this is how beautiful these turned out. I think they're so stunning. It was a great way to repurpose what I'm going to call trays into beautiful vintage home decor for Christmas time. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. All right, the next one is just this easy little thrift flip. Actually, a subscriber sent me this a long time ago. And she knew I would DIY it, I promise. So I'm going to paint it with the elephant gray all over, and then I am going to let this dry up, and then we'll also paint over it with white by Waverly. Now I'm taking some more transfers and I am playing around with the placement of my branches. This is one that she did. I'm following pretty closely to hers, but of course I get a little extra and then I have to try and like fix it. But anywho, I'm going to do as I did with the other transfers, just scrape them on. I start layering up. And that's what's fun about these transfers is you can layer them. So they don't have to just be, one transfer and that's it. You can stack the transfers on top of each other to create your own images. And that's something that I don't do very often. And I'm like, come on, girl, you got an imagination. Like, let's start using these things. So I add this beautiful bird as well. And then, of course, in my mind, I'm like, oh, this needs a second bird. So let's add another branch. Well, y'all, it just did not work out for me. I tried, but I just couldn't see it. So then, of course, we have that weird branch that's sticking out from the bottom of this sign. So I'm like, okay, I got to cover it up. I get another pine cone, and that's how I kind of tie it all in together. But it still came out cute. I would definitely say my favorite out of this entire video is the bear sign with all that beautiful texture. But this one was like really cute. It was simple and it was very easy to make, and it was fun playing around with the layering of the transfers. And y'all, you could also get transfers on Amazon. You don't have to purchase them from IOD whatsoever. I wanted to hop on, and as I mentioned before, I do offer a business coaching class. You can sign up on my website. It is a monthly subscription every 14th of the month. It is done on Facebook, and this is for those of you that are wanting to get into social media. Maybe you're already there, but you're feeling a little stuck and don't know what to do. I am going to be there. We have a great community in the group so far. We have weekly sessions discussing all aspects of business, not just YouTube. There is websites, booths, all forms of social media. So if you think that's something you're going to be interested in, check out the website and feel free to email me. So I found this little gem while unpacking, and maybe some of you have guessed it. We're going to try a paint inlay again, okay? Practice makes perfect. So I gave that 2 coats of paint just to cover up the wording on it. And I am using the exact same image that Erin does for this. And if
you have been on my channel, then you know I have tried this quite a few times and have been unsuccessful. So we are trying it again. I'm going to apply a generous amount. I'm not like completely oversaturating the sign, but I am putting a healthy coat because I want to ensure that the paint stays wet when I apply that paint inlay. Now that I've got it there, I'm going to press that paint inlay. Now, one thing that I've learned from Erin is that instead of like cutting as close as she could to the image, she leaves a lot of the paper on, which completely makes sense because then when you peel it, it's all an even coat. Then I spritz that with water enough to see how like the words and everything got vibrant. I spritzed it with enough water to do that. Then I patted it dry. I let it completely dry, and then I spritzed it with some more water. Again, enough to brighten up the image. I let it set. You guys told me let it sit for like, 3 to 5 minutes. That was the toughest thing I've ever had to do. But you guys, we had a successful paint inlay. Look at this as I'm like peeling it back. I'm like, oh my gosh, look it. Okay, it's going, it's working. And it worked. Yep. My first successful paint inlay. So just because it doesn't work the first time, you guys have to keep practicing. You have to get those IOD products out if you have them, and you have to keep working on it. Now I'm going to take these stamps, and this is what I love about watching other creators, you guys, because with this stamp, I would have never thought to do this around the frame of a sign with these stamps. So when you watch other creators, they might not necessarily, I mean, she's totally my vibe, but like they might not necessarily be like your style or your home decor, but you can learn different ways of using things that you have from other creators. So I was super excited to finally take this stamp out and put it to some use because it's absolutely beautiful. These are stamps that you could use all year long as well. Got a little crooked there, but that's okay. This ink pad is actually Tomato, also by IOD Products. All of my IOD links are down in the description box. I get mine from thepaintedheirloom.com, and she offers 10% off for first-time customers, and that code is down there as well. All right, so I am following this all the way around. Then I do clear it, and when I say clear, that just means that I am spraying it with Clear Matte by Rust-Oleum. And then I just wanted to show you guys, I wanted to see how much paint was still on these because they say that you could use them 2 times. So I just got an old book and did the same steps I did with my sign on the book. This was after it dried. I spritzed it with some water. I just wanted to show you guys this just because. And then as I peel it back, you guys, there's actually a lot of colors. They look a little bit more faded, but look at that. The whole image showed up. So don't throw them away. And this is how cute this turned out. Erin, thank you so much for this inspiration. You guys check her out. Her link is down in the description box, and you'll not only love her accent, but seriously, her DIYs are just fabulous, and she gets so detailed and intricate with her IOD molds. It's something crazy to watch. So definitely check her out, and I hope you love this one as much as I did. At Savers, and I was like, well, first off, I mean, they're perfect. They're wood. There's nothing you can't do with wood, y'all. So I'm going to take these off. I took them outside and I completely sanded the top off. I didn't, you guys, I just had to show you this. So, when you see something on Pinterest, it said take acrylic latex caulking and you can use it to make, molds, all that stuff. And then, I mean, that's all I really saw on Pinterest. I didn't actually read the Pinterest post. So I had my husband pick this up for me. I start doing it. One, it is a complete mess. Then I start reading the caulking tube, or what is this? Yeah, it's caulking. And it says it takes like 5 to 7 days to dry. I just thought I would show you guys my little oopsie there, okay? All right, so now I'm taking, this is the new IOD Christmas molds. I am taking cornstarch and I am going to put that in my molds. This is going to help release the clay or whatever you're using from your mold. So I am trying a different clay this time. I am trying paper clay. And I have to say, I liked it a lot. It was it was super soft and it was easy to work with. I will say though, when you see me do these next ones, the snowflakes, it was so soft that at times when I was pulling the clay, like across the image, it was kind of pulling it back up on me. So, and then you guys, if you guys actually read, because I hardly do, I just say, oh, I can do that. On the IOD, like molds on the back, it shows them using like a spatula over it to like press them down. And that's where I got this idea to use my little white thing here. Yeah, I was like, oh, wow, this makes it so much easier. So you could see how it keeps kind of like lifting. It's just so soft. And I think that air dry clay kind of is heavier. I don't know. I'm not like a mold or clay expertise person, okay? But I got it to go down. I leave this to dry overnight in the mold. I read your guys' comments, and I was having a lot of issues with my air dry clay I was going to say cracking, and y'all said leave it in the mold to dry. So that's what I did with the paper clay. And I have to say, this is going to sound so silly, but it really did look like I got paper and like wadded it up and wet it and let it dry. That sounds so silly because it's paper clay. So obviously, but anywho, so the little excess, like little bits that were hanging off, I just got my weeding tool and kind of like, what am I doing? Like pressing, kind of sanding it off with that. The details on these snowflakes are so fine that I could not get sanding paper in there. So this is how I chose to do it. Now I'm taking my Star Bond glue and I'm going to use this to adhere my molds. And the reason I'm doing this one instead of like the Tight Bond wood glue that I usually use or hot glue is because the glue is so thin on this one that I'm able to hit all of those little details and it doesn't like come out from under it. So you could see how I'm able to get all those little tiny pieces, and then when I lay it down onto my wood piece, I don't have a bunch of it coming like out from under the mold. And then I also have the accelerator, and this I was able to like push down on the mold, spray this, and then it like instantaneously dries when it hits that. So as you can see, I only sanded the top of these. I wanted that beautiful old like stained wood still on there. I'm going to take some painter's tape off those edges, and then I'm going to grab, I think this color is Sailor by DIY Paints, and I am going to take a stencil brush from Dollar Tree and we are going to apply this to the top. Now I didn't, of course, like I usually do, want the brush strokes. So I start stippling this on. And if you guys have watched my channel before, then I'm sorry if it sounds like I repeat myself, but there might be new viewers on here. So I like to use this stencil brush because all of those little bristles, those wire hairs, they get into all of the little nooks and crannies, all of those beautiful details so that none of that white is showing. And then you can see with the DIY paints, they're clay based, so they look dark when they're wet, but you can see as it's drying down, it shows up this beautiful soft blue, which I love. Now I'm going to grab my DIY white wax. Y'all know I'm obsessed with the wax, and I am just going to dust it over the snowflakes. I do not want to touch the paint in the background. I really want these snowflakes to pop out at you. So that is why I chose to just do these snowflakes versus the entire piece. And you can just see all of that beautiful detail that comes out. It seriously shocks me how they're able to get all of these details into a mold. Crazy. Now I'm going to take the deer one, and I am going to take Cashew by Waverly, and I am going to do the same thing. Stencil brush, I'm going to start stippling around there to get all of those details in there. And then we are going to take the DIY dark wax. Look at this. It's delicious. And we are going to dust that over. Look at, oh my gosh, I love it. I just love how this stuff brings out all of the features of these molds. Anything that has texture on it, you guys know I'm all about. So then I just wipe the excess off with a paper towel, and that is good to go. And look at the framed out. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, now we're gonna put the tops back in there. And you guys, I know not everybody's gonna like just have these lying around. You can use real wood pieces like 1x4s cut up, or you could even use, Dollar Tree has some wood pieces kind of similar to this, and those hooks, they sell those at the hardware store. So there's another option if you don't have these. Now I'm cutting up my pillowcase that you guys see me use quite often. I'm going to take my IOD stamps, and I actually got this idea from Sonnet's Garden and Bloom. I forgot what she made, but she made tags like this, and I was like, okay, this is going to be the perfect little subtle addition to our, I'm gonna call them ornaments maybe. So I put my stamp on there. I'm gonna fray the edges with my weeding tool just so it doesn't look so clean and crisp. That's not my style whatsoever. And you guys, if you, what am I doing now? Oh, and then I'm just gonna tie this on, and that's done. And you can use these in tiered trays. I even thought these would be great gifts, and you could put a personalized message on the back with paint pen, or even hand write it and then Mod Podge it to the back. Oh my gosh, how sweet of a gift would that be? And I think that they turned out so good. I'm all about the details on this one. I hope it inspired you to make this in some way or another. Now we're going to try something different. So I'm going to take this box. So I posted for my members asking them what I should do with this box, and I showed them the image I was going to use. Y'all said that you wanted me to keep the box basically as is. But you know how like when you ask like your spouse like, hey, where should we go for dinner? And they actually respond, and then you're like, no, let's go here for dinner. That's basically what I did with this. Okay. So this is what it looked like before, if any of you guys were wondering. I'm going to take it outside, spray it with a red spray paint, and then I am going to clear it. Now I come back inside, I take my sanding block, and I tried distressing the edges, but since I applied the clear coat to it, it wasn't really happening for me. So I do end up going in later and distressing it with white. Now I'm going to tape the inside of the frame off right here, and I am going to use that white swan by DIY. Now make sure you always read the instructions when you are using IOD products so that they are used the right way. Now here are the paint inlays, okay? These are absolutely amazing. So I am going to cut as close to my image as I can. I already sized and make sure that it fit. Now I'm going to take a second coat of this paint. Now when you are using paint inlays, you have to work fast. So you either need to hurry up and paint your piece, or paint it in sections, because this layer of paint needs to be wet. So what I did here was I did my second coat. I am working with a smaller piece, so I didn't necessarily have to do this in sections. Now you want this to be nice and a smooth coat. Now I take this paint inlay, I lay it on the wet paint, and essentially what these paint inlays are is it is a painted picture, and it's going to infuse with that wet paint. And what I'm doing right here is spritzing it with water, and then I'm tapping it down. I'm wanting to make sure that I'm pressing that image into the wet paint. Now, the mistake I made was, one, I put too heavy of a coat of paint on, And then I was pressing so hard on my image that the paint was kind of like coming out from underneath my inlay. So just use a softer hand and you don't have to go so crazy with your coat of paint. Now that it is completely dry, dry time will vary, we are going to take a spray bottle of water and you're going to spritz that again. This is going to help release that paper from the paint. So you're going to see right here how I bring it up. All right. And look at how that transferred on to our paint. Now, it might not be perfect and you might need to get the hang of it. Always as well, keep this piece of paper because you could reuse these a second time. Now, they're not going to show up as vibrant as the first time, but you can use that a second time. Now, I was trying to fix my mistake because you could see like where my line of paper was because I pushed that paint out to the side. So what I did was I'm taking my spray bottle, I'm spritzing it onto my image, taking a paintbrush, and I'm going to almost like do like a stippling effect, I guess you could say, on it, and it's going to turn it into what looks like a watercolor. So these are just like the DIY paints, water soluble. So when I put on that water, it's activating that paint and then I'm able to blend it. And do you see how this almost looks like it's turning into a watercolor painting? Now you don't have to do this. Your image could come out totally fine. Mine, I was essentially trying to hide the stuff going on the sides, and then was like, you know what, this looks really pretty blended in. So that's what I ended up doing, and here is the piece after everything was said and done. And I guess I didn't show, but I distressed obviously the frame of this with some white paint to tie it all in, and I love this. There are so many other paint inlays too, you guys, and you'll see more of them throughout the season for sure. But look at how beautiful that turned out. I'm going to start with this very old piece of wood, and I am going to get my elephant gray, and I'm going to paint the front, the backs, and the sides. Then I go in with white by Waverly, and I will do the entire board with just a messy coat. Now we are going to get another transfer out. I'm going to use this deer transfer. I'm making this like exactly like hers because I loved it. And I am going to use my little scraper tool that comes with the IOD transfers, and I am going to scrape as I pull up on that image, leaving this beautiful deer. Is it a deer or a buck? Anywho. Now I'm going to take this stamps. These stamps come in a set of 4. Oh, the baby just woke up, you guys. And this one almost looks like a scratched surface. And I'm using the stone gray for this. And I'm going to put it all around our deer/buck. You guys tell me. Now, after I'm done with that one, she goes in. Do you see the one right here on the right? This actually makes it look like crackled paint. So I use that around the edges of this sign, and I was like, you know what, this is missing something. I felt like hers had more like of a detail to it, and then I realized it's these little transfers. They almost look like scrolls with like vines on them, and it just adds that right amount of detail that it needs. And again, it's just things that I wouldn't think to like add to this sign, or like how she layered all of these different elements together. And it just opens your eyes to the creativity that like you can do with other projects on your own. So I love the way this turned out. I think a lot of these pieces I'm keeping for myself around my home. Maybe I'll even gift them to my neighbors. I don't really know their style. Maybe I'll have to go creep at their house, like invite myself over or something. Or maybe I shouldn't, because that'd be weird. All right.
Get back into our molds once again. I got this planter at Savers for $2.49. I actually have a couple of them, so you might see that one pop up in a video again. I'm going to use cornstarch to put on my mold so that our air dry clay does not stick. And I'm also going to use one of the new molds for this piece. However, I'm not going to use the entire mold. You'll see what I'm talking about later. So I'm going to take my DOS air dry clay that is in my Amazon store link down in the description box. I really love this clay. It stays nice and wet, it doesn't dry out, and it's very easy to work with. I am just pulling all of the excess clay out of my mold, and then I'm going to turn it around and be super careful because these antlers are very delicate. And then I'm going to get that Tite Bond wood glue, a paintbrush, and I'm going to brush that on to all of the details on my reindeer. Now it's looking wonky, but don't worry, we're okay. I just take a paintbrush and I'm going to manipulate that clay mold. That is what is nice about these molds, is you can manipulate them however you want them to look. So I'm going to fix that. Then taking these, I'm cutting them down, and I'm only using actually half of the mold that it was originally, if that makes sense. And now I'm going to take those molds, and again, I'm just manipulating it to look how I want it to look up against the reindeer. And I'm going to do that to both sides. So I'm going to do it on the alternating side as well. And then I'm going to let this dry for a little bit. After it dries up, I'm going to take aviary and we're going to paint this entire piece. Make sure to paint the bottom too. When you get to your molds, you want to make sure that you're a little bit more delicate. My molds are still wet, so they're still pliable. So I want to make sure that I'm not going too hard with my paintbrush to distort the details on it. Painting your molds while they are also wet will help with cracking. Now that that's done, I'm going to take a baby wipe, and I'm doing this because it has some crackle in it. The original planter was gold, so I just wanted a little bit of that to come back through because you guys know I love gold. Okay, now again, clear wax. You guys see my theme here. I like clear wax. And now we're going to take white wax. We're going to focus a lot of that white wax on top of our molds because that is where I want it to stick the most. And then I'm going to take that paintbrush and I'm going to stipple that white wax on throughout the entire planter because I want everything to be cohesive. I'm going to take a paper towel and wipe it back, and you can see that crackle come through. It is absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to wad up that paper towel, and then I'm going to get in between the details. So you can see how I get like a little piece, and then I'm able to buff it out in between the molds. And of course, I'm taking gold, but I'm only going to put it on the little scrolly parts over on the side. And then I'm going to pop a Christmas tree in there and we are done. Now, on the camera, you can't see all the details on the reindeer's face, but in person, you could really see the eyes, the nose, and all that. But I love this. And I think it looks so good. And you could use it for so many other things in a Christmas tree, but I thought it was gorgeous. Let me know if you guys want more Christmas in July videos by commenting with a Christmas tree. I appreciate you. I got this, okay? Look it. It's that time. I've had it hanging up, waiting. I like them real thick and sprucey. Isn't that so fun? Because it's Christmas time in July. That's right. La, 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 la.
Yeah, girl.
No, good job. Yeah. It starts baby channels, jumpers. All of it. I actually washed my hair. Smells good. Very pasty and like I'm very old.
It's okay.
Please beware, not beware. Please, no. You're blocking the whole thing. Come here. Come here. You're ruining it. Maybe if you were sitting at the desk, that would be really cool. No. They don't want you in their promo. They don't want you. You're not a part of the collaboration. No, I have lipstick on. Get away.
Nothing.
Nothing? You can sit, honey, but you need to be quiet so I can record these, okay? So I'm not finished yet.
Hey, Mom.
What?
After you're done with that, you know, like the drawings that I have of Pokemon?
Okay.
Can you put one after you're done with this?
Yes, I can. I'll say what the video's about, all of that stuff.
Have you been doing this for a while?
I have.
Oh.
Do I want to say that it was Christmas though? They're Christmas dark lips? No, I don't have to.
You don't have to. If you want.
Okay. With scissor hands. What are you looking at, fool? Huh? What are you looking at? Don't wag your tail at me. Don't do it. Don't. Oh, dang it. I know. Okay. Let's not slobber on me. Let me get this done. Can you move over? Okay. No, you're gonna get me dirty. All you're doing is stretching on me. And okay. I have stuff on my lips. Okay. You drooled on me. Sorry about my background. I'm starting to take things down. I'm starting to take things down. It doesn't look like I took anything down except a sign. Okay. Since you won't sit down by yourself for a little bit, you have to be in it with me. All right, we're gonna make this. Are you just totally focused on yourself? Hello. Okay, let's do this. Do. You're so funny. Okay. All right. What's this? What's that? Wait. Hi. No. 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 Oh. So it's like, well, what are you doing? Okay, let's go.